For me, and I'm gonna say it loud and clear. For me, I think Umam Engine has done well, has served the country, but I still feel we need new blood in that position. As a minister of basic education, when you speak about education, I was listening to news last month. They were saying about 80% of our children cannot read and write with understanding. But again, I'm not going to blame the educators, but I'm going to blame the system itself, because of even the minister of basic education, when he speaks, she does not give me that confidence. Umama our children are in good hands. So again, to that issue, it goes with the issue of e-cater deployment, because I really feel Umama cannot really do anything in terms of changing our educational system, in terms of improving it or whatsoever. I feel there we need new mind, new blood.
Controversy is here to stay, man. What do you think? I love controversy. Can't live without the truth, eh?
Africa, my land, Africa, my people. As we're trying to address those social illnesses of our country, there comes the controversy, of course. And we are here to address all those controversial issues. With Tusteve. How are you, Manir?
Thanks. How are you?
I'm super. Nice. We will be busy today with the controversial show as usual. The politics. We'll be just tackling those political ideas that we think are not in line with the interest of our people. And we will be, of course, chit-chatting, throwing our 2 cents there and there to see where we can fix things. All right, Mr. Stave, are you ready, man?
I am okay.
You're forever ready?
Yes.
All right, as we're tackling a political topic today, politics, yes. Why do you think our youth is not so much keen in these political ideas and politics as a whole?
Well, I may start by saying the reason that you find most people, they seem not to care, even take an interest on politics, it's because of they understand that even if they can have so much interest in politics, but their lives will not change. So that's the issue, that even the politicians have not done justice in terms of educating people and in terms of even assisting people, So it is an issue that we understand, or even the youth understand, that the youth, is not served by politicians. It does not have, any say in political, arena. So that's the thing.
What happened to this youth? Is it the ANC Youth League? What happened to that?
Well, that league, in actual fact, it died immediately when they suspended, Julius Malema. They've suspended it. But again, it's an issue that, most, political parties find themselves that they do not want a new voice to speak. They do not want new ideas. They do not want, you to revolutionize, ideas, to come up with new ideas that are very revolutionary. So you'd find that they still, take the very conservative way in approaching anything, for that matter, whether it's an issue of economy, whether it's an issue of the land. You find they are very conservative.
Yes. So is it because maybe they are afraid of this youth that is thinking fresh and is rebellious to all those previous agreements that they did.
Yeah, I think the issue there is the issue of them being afraid even to be to be brought to book, because of, you would understand that our politicians in particular, those old men and women, they've done a lot of shenanigans in terms of not doing justice. Instead of serving people, they were serving themselves. They've perfected way to the art of politics of stomach. They've perfected that art. And then you'd find Uguti, they do not want really to give away power. So it's only in Africa that you'd find a president who's 92. A president who's 80 years. I mean, how would that person come to an understanding of social problems and whatever problems that are facing the youth?
If ever they don't have the voice.
Exactly. Even if you are 80, you do not really know now what is happening. I mean, in the streets, you do not know. I mean, the things that are affecting the youth. So that's the problem that we are facing. That these people have been into power for years and years, and they are not even bringing any change for that matter.
And the funny part is that they won't be there on the decisions that they are taking today, which is for the future.
Thank you, very much so. And even if we take it further and say, I mean, the demographic population of South Africa, you would see it from the age of 18 and then 40. You would see that. I mean, that's the number that we should be putting our focus on. But you'd find we are still being controlled, or the decisions are taken by someone who's 70, by someone who's 80, who does not really understand the problems that the youth and the people of South Africa are facing.
Okay. While still on that topic, do you think the judiciary is captured?
Well, it is very difficult for me to actually give a blanket answer and say it is captured. Even though I feel that certain, because of really, if we say, the judiciary is captured, it will simply mean that, there's no equality. It will simply mean that there is no accountability. Yet, I feel that certain judgments, in particular in South Africa, that I feel should have been maybe revised. Because of, again, the problem that I'm having is that most of the political issues, whether the leadership issues, why should those issues be resolved by judiciary?
Yes, why must we involve the
Exactly, that's my point, that we find most of the issues that for me need political intervention or even social intervention. We cannot come into consensus to solving those issues. I'm saying us, but I'm speaking about leaders now. And you'd find they will even ventilate, the problems that they are having or the quarrels or whatsoever to the court of law. And now you'd find obviously, these people who are one, for instance, whether we speak of a chief justice or the justices who are serving us in Concord, those people there are bodies that will interview these people. But the bottom line is, it is the president of the country
that chooses,
that gives direction. So it is now the issue of impartiality, whether is it going to be there or what, because of really you have given me the opportunity to serve. At some point, even though I qualify, but I still feel there are better candidates that were there. But you preferred me. So obviously, I will serve your interests more than the interest of protecting the judiciary system of South Africa. So that's where the problem is.
All right. Going forward now, which party do you think is relevant now in terms of addressing those youth issues going forward into the future?
Well, Vetu, I may say, the EFF, speak, the language of the youth. Even though I think it is very important to even put it there to our people that most of these policies and most of this noise, good noise, of course, that EFF is making as a political party, it's not new, but it's Pan-Africanism. Even the older parties, whether even the ANC, they speak about their land, about the land. Even if you look at the old parties like PAC, Pan-African Nationalist Congress, if you look at the party like AZAPO and Azania, you would find that their manifestos and their beliefs seem to be rejuvenated now, seem to be more ventilated by the EFF, meaning that whatever that the EFF is saying representing the youth. Remember, the leaders of the ANC were once a youth.
The youth, yes.
You get my point? And they were very revolutionary. They were very radical. In their youthful days. But after time, they seem to shift away from that, from those ideas, and that's where the parties like EFF are coming forth, and they are representing, the voice of the youth. And I'm saying those policies and that really drive, the EFF as a party are not new. Yes.
Okay. So who do you think now can be our next president among the presidents that we have in South Africa? Let's start in South Africa before we go into...
That I'm going to be very controversial and say, at this point in time, I don't feel we need to select the leader of the country, basing it in a political space. Yeah. But I still feel anyone who's got qualities of being a good leader, I think the very same system that they are using in America or in other countries, whereby you really do not need to belong to a political party, but you can simply a contest if you have good leadership and if you really have the interest of people at heart.
I heard that is possible now. Single candidates can now apply to be...
I'm not too sure whether the president has signed that law. It's still in I know provincially you can, or even in local government, but I'm not too sure whether you are allowed to go as a single candidate, in a national level.
All right, let's talk about Eskom now. Eskom has got issues.
Yes.
Do you think it is one of those manufactured issues, or it is something that is really genuine, the problem?
Well, there is no direct answer to that, but I want us to look at the genesis of the matter. You'd understand that Eskom, it's 100 years old. In particular, the issue of electrification of South Africa started around 1880 or so. And I guess the first town was Kimberley. That was
electricity.
Yes. And the main reason was, if you would notice, was for mining purposes. Right. Let's go back to Eskom, to your question now. The establishment of Eskom itself was to serve, certain population of our country. One, in particular, white or privileged people. So the black majority were not really included when they had this idea of starting an energy company, right? Even if because at the time it was Jan Smart He had no interest of serving black people. But again, now I'm saying, after a new dispensation, that's where maybe I'm trying to deal with your question directly. After the new dispensation, the question is the black government now. What did it do in order to actually say the population of South Africa is growing. The majority of people now we're gonna go to rural areas and include them into this power grid. What are we going to do in terms of building new power stations? In terms of making sure that everyone has access to electricity? They did not do that.
So you are buying into that story now
of
saying now the country was not ready for the number of people now that needs supply of electricity. Because it's simple, sir. A country that's got a coal cannot now say it cannot produce electricity to people.
Yeah, but now you are also bringing another important element of the problem. Remember, every leader, particularly Jacob Zuma, wanted to shift. In South Africa from coal mining, into nuclear. That's number one. Now there is also that issue with Uguti. We do not know, or the country itself does not know whether they need to go to a renewable energy. Because of the deals. Again, those are the deals that are signed by our president. With other European countries. When we speak about nuclear, we speak about Russia. That former President Zuma, he signed a deal with the Russians to assist us in solving the power crisis. But again, and I'm saying this with authority, I know for the fact that the issue of coal, again, it's an issue that you'd find with most of these coal mines are owned or are privately owned by the very same politicians. And that itself is an issue because of you would hear, even where they're saying we cannot really do away with coal. But the question is, yes, I understand that we have tons and tons of coal. But the issue is it working? The answer to that is no.
We shouldn't be, though, in such a dilemma. Because if we've got a source that we can use to get electricity and it is not broken, why fix it then?
In the last 12 years, you must check how many CEOs that Eskom had.
There's corruption after corruption.
More than 15 CEOs in the good 10 years that Eskom has changed one CEO to another. So you would say now that the problem is with leadership. And again, Veto, I do not understand the dynamics in terms of, because you understand where I'm coming from. I'm a person who believes in nationalizing everything. Because most of our problems in Eskom started when, they privatized part of Eskom and then they said, no, this is going to be a state-owned entity. It's going to have its own director or so, but the government will be, there to check the interest or even to appoint the board and all that. So for me, that's the issue, that the politicians are involved with the running of day-to-day of Eskom. Yet these people are not even engineers. These people, they know nothing about even the type of coal. And particularly, I'm speaking about the likes of Gwede and even Pravin. So now it becomes the issue of corruption. It becomes the issue of saving their own, saving their own party rather than saving, people of South Africa.
Right. It seems like this politics is very broad. You need to just separate it, and because of now I'm thinking an issue about education, but it is for another day.
Yeah, the issue of education, I think again, it's very systemic, because I've been preaching this thing over tea. For me, and I'm gonna say it loud and clear. For me, I think Umam Engine has done well, has served the country, but I still feel we need new blood in that position. As a minister of basic education, when you speak about education, I was listening to news last month. They were saying about 80% of our children cannot read and write with understanding. But again, I'm not going to blame the educators, but I'm going to blame the system itself, because of even the minister of basic education, when he speaks, she does not give me that confidence. Umamala, our children are in good hands. So again, to that issue, it goes with the issue of e-data deployment, because I really feel Umama cannot really do anything in terms of changing our educational system, in terms of improving it or whatsoever. I feel there we need new mind, new blood.
Actually, we need new mind in the political range as a whole. In Parliament, there's old people sleeping.
They are always sleeping. Yes.
So there's nothing that can go right.
I agree.
As we are luring our young minds out there to start thinking politics, to start mingling with this language and try and resolve these African matters.
Yes.
All right. Do you think land can come back to us in our lifetime in South Africa?
No,
Why so?
It's because of for us to get our hands into the land. Firstly, we need to emancipate our minds from these Eurocentric ideas. We need to have, an understanding that this land was taken from us by force. We need to understand the issue that Africa belongs to Africans. We should go back to what Freedom Charter says, and with the leadership that is very centered on the Western ideology. I do not see them signing off powers to individuals, to poor South Africans, to give them their land. I do not see that happening into our lifetime.
Why are we still having a president, Fanano Ramaphosa, after all the shenanigans and the money in the mattress? Why is he still head of state?
It's a very interesting question, Fetu, but I think I'm going to shift my focus from the leader because the leader, remember, does not elect himself. The leader is elected by people. And I'm saying perhaps we should really shift away from blaming the leaders and blame the people who are putting these leaders. Because that's where the problem starts. For me, the followership, it's important in this matter. Because of this issue of new dawn, this issue of, the new beginning, the new dawn, it was drummed to us by even media, in particular, Western media, who was supporting the issue of President Ramaphosa to come to the seat, to the hot seat. But the question is, has he done justice to us? The answer is no. But definitely he has done justice to the white privilege. That's why you would see, once you speak about Ramaphosa, the rand, the currency will start dropping and all that. If ever ngiqala ukukhuluma ngendaba bathini le fam yakhe phala, then you see what no, you mustn't go there, because of he's there to serve the interest of the white.
Yeah. All right, let's go vote, guys, and vote for the relevant people. All right, going forward now, we're looking into Africa now.
Yes.
Do you think now is it possible for Africa to be one country?
Yes.
And who can lead in our African leaders? Who do you think can lead?
Yeah, I mean, Veto, I'm a Pan-Africanist activist. I believe in Africanism. I believe in United States of Africa. But again, I mean, our great, forefathers. I speak about Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. I speak about Saleh Hilasi. I speak about Sol Plaatje. They've tried, but they failed because again, Africa itself, it's divided not by the issue of ethnicity or by borders or whatsoever, but the ideology of Western culture. It's there, it's there for everyone to see. Like the issue of language. Whether you go to Congo, you'd find these people, they're speaking more French because they were colonized by French people. Even, now France is still controlling these people. So before we even go to the idea of uniting a country and having one leader, we need to speak about one language. We need to understand that Africa must have one language. It must have, one currency. Therefore, we can be able to say no after we have ticked all those boxes. Then we can select one leader, and that leader will be me.
I'm very impressed. I'll vote for you. I'm behind you.
Yes.
All right. You made a statement about Professor Lumumba.
Yes, Lumumba. Yes.
What is he saying about Africa getting colonized?
Yeah, he's saying, Africa will be colonized again in the next 25 years. And I'm sharing those sentiments.
You are joining him?
Yes, because we have number of NGOs that are sponsored by Europeans. Our leaders, they sit in these conventionals, they sit in these meetings, they speak good English. But what they are saying, guys, we have land, guys, we have resources, we've got rivers, we've got whatever. We're asking you to come and invest into our country. But remember, when these foreign investors come to any country, to whether it's corporate, to open these big mining companies, whether it's anything that you can think of, and we would say, they are creating jobs. They are signing leases with African governments. And I tell you now that those leases, they are in a duration of 99 years. The time, 99 years lease agreement. So you'd say, what to these people now? They would say, okay, we're coming with our millions or billions. We're going to invest in this and that. But we should be here for this particular time. And that itself, it simply means what you are giving these people power to control you. As we speak now, most of countries, whether you speak about Malawi, whether you speak about Zambia, I think the recent cases, the case of people of Uganda, where you'd find President Museveni made a comment, and even the law about LGBTQ+, and to say he's going to sentence them to 15 years. Of which, again, what happened there is the foreign forces, the Europeans and the Americans, they said we're going to withdraw our funding. They did that to Malawi because Malawi cannot stand on its own as a sovereign country. It's depending on foreign investment. It's depending on funding from these Western countries. So if they do something that they feel it's very African to them, this government from USA or whatever, they would simply say, we're going to to cancel our funding, and you will see your people will starve. So until Africa and African countries, they are able to understand the issue of what is meant when they say one country, it's a sovereign country. It simply means another country cannot really intervene in terms of the policies and regulations of the country. You are on your own. Until we master that, I still feel we are really taking back our power to the hands of the Europeans and the Americans.
So our leaders are still taking instructions.
Yes, just a typical example. I've traveled around Africa. You'd find in Zimbabwe, you go to Zambia, you go to Congo. Their currency is when you speak about Zimbabwean dollar or kwacha or what, that currency is bad. It's not even there. Whenever you go into Botswana, Nipula and all that. In Africa, we are still using foreign currency. In Africa, we are using foreign currency. Even here in South Africa, if $1 you having a US dollar, really you live with the bourgeoisie. You are there.
You have money.
You have money.
All right. Now wrapping, looking forward to greater things in Africa as political regimes are changing.
Yes.
American dollar is falling slowly but surely. What do you think now can we do as Africa going forward now to say we taking back our power now? Where can we start to, except for the language,
yes,
in terms of monetary value now? Where do we start with these resources? Where do we start for them to benefit us?
It's very simple. We do not need to compete with Commonwealth. We do not need to be listed in the stock exchange in New York and all that. Where we need to start, we need to trade among ourselves.
And there's no one prohibiting that.
No, there is no one. There is no one, really. If you've got, a gold, trade it. But I do not understand that the price of fuel should be in dollars, in American dollars, whereby we understand that the fuel comes from countries like Nigeria, countries like Libya, which are African countries. But why should the value of it be determined by foreign forces? Why can't we trade among ourselves?
Why do we rely so much on the West? What do they have on Africa? Why are they holding us hostage? What are they using?
Well, it is very easy to even look at the scenes, and the problem is it's our African leaders. Because when the African leaders even canvas their ideas, even when they want to ascend to power, they go to Europe and ask for funding for them to reach out to people. So already you'd understand, Uti, by you going, overseas, having these meetings and saying, okay, fine, please assist me to ascend to power. This and this and this is what it's going to go. I'm going to strengthen, our economical ties. I'm going to make sure that we trade more, simple things. I once said to you, I really do not understand why we have to eat chicken that is coming from America, from Brazil. Where else we can produce our own chicken and feed our people?
Why else there's firms like Nkosi
you see,
who can supply?
Yes, who can supply? Definitely. But one will prefer something that it's coming from overseas and all that. And again, it is the government. Yes, that it's doing that. It is the government. But I'm saying the starting point, it's us making sure ukuthi nje we open, the trading policies, we trade among each other, we make sure that we even increase the tax for other European countries if they want to do the import and exports to our country. We make sure that we increase the tariffs there.
All right. You've heard it from the show, the controversy, of course. And we will be doing our next show, which would be focusing on economy, township economy. All right, we will be doing township economy on our next show. So make sure you like us, you follow us, and we are pushing this movement going forward, making sure we say things when we see they are wrong, and we try and resolve them.
Can't live without the truth, eh?